Hey everyone, if you're new here, welcome to my channel. If you're not new, welcome back. Thank you for joining me. For those of you who don't know, my name is Libby. I do a bunch of different content from mental health awareness, what I eat in a day, hauls and unboxings and vlogs and pet content because I have a pug, all kind of stuff. So don't forget to hit that subscribe button and hit that notification bell. But today, I kind of wanted to dig a little deep because I feel like this is something I haven't touched on in maybe a little bit. It's something I've seen more prominent on TikTok and a little bit on YouTube, but more on TikTok is infertility. I feel like there's a lot more people I've seen coming forward with stories about their infertility journey and their struggles. And as someone who has dealt with the news of infertility since I was 16, I kind of wanted to touch on that. So this is also a trigger warning. If some people are kind of triggered by that topic right now, are a little emotional about it and don't want to watch anything about that, here's your little trigger warning right now. But let's get into it. But first, coffee. So as many of you may know from previous videos, TikToks, whatever, that I was diagnosed at 16 with Turner syndrome, so therefore I will not be able to naturally give birth. It leads to infertility. So my only options are trying IVF with egg donor or adoption. Those are my two course of actions, because obviously we know IVF is not always successful. And that leads me into kind of my first point is I have seen so many women on my TikTok, especially as I mentioned before, that are, sorry for my dog, he's being a little background, that have just struggled with infertility, and a lot of them have tried IUIs or IVF and have been unsuccessful, some of them multiple times. And you can see the effect it has on these women. I have not gone through IUIs. I wouldn't be able to do an IUI because of my certain circumstance, but I haven't tried IVF yet. But I see a lot of people who have, and it's honestly, like, there are a lot of good success stories. I see those on my TikTok too, like, and that's just heartwarming. But I do see a lot of those a lot more that are struggling with it, and it's kind of something that we don't see, because obviously not a lot of people talk about infertility. People don't talk about the infertility side of things because some people think it may be TMI. It's something that just isn't societally acceptable to bring up in conversation. They may think it's like a taboo, like, that's icky, no. But I think since there's so many people who are struggling with it, it's such a needed topic. Because I feel like from what I've seen on TikTok, a lot of the people who go through IVF, like I eventually will have to do with my husband Blake, when it doesn't work, it just brings on this sense from what I can tell and what I feel like just knowing me, how it would affect me. You can just see how it just brings them down, like in tears, and it just shatters, like literally like a piece of, like a glass window, and someone just takes a hammer and go boom. And that's kind of how I felt when I was diagnosed with Turner syndrome. Like, at first I was shocked. I was completely shocked. And I feel like that's also like something I'm learning with my classes is like kind of how things go in different stages. And I feel like for a lot of people with infertility, they do truly go through stages. And I feel like the first one for quite a few people, I'm not speaking for everybody, but I'm speaking from some people I can tell and from my own experience, denial can be such a prominent stage when you're first diagnosed with infertility because of just how, especially depending on the person who was diagnosed, how heartbreaking that can be. And so like your body just goes into shock. Your mind and your body just goes into shock. Well, especially your mind, and you just are in such denial. And for me, that denial looked like just ignoring it, just pretending the problem didn't exist. Like when we went to the specialist, I just zoned out the whole conversation and just sat there like I had to because I was 16 and my mom was with me. And so I didn't even understand I don't remember a single word of the conversation. I don't remember anything that happened. I just remember being on this exam bed and staring at the wall. And that's all I remember. Like, I don't remember a single thought that went through my head. I don't remember what the doctor looked like. I just remember I was cold sitting on the exam table and I just remember a gray wall. That's all I remember. I was in such denial. And I think I definitely have moved into another stage that I feel like a lot of people with infertility kind of go into is grief. They go through that stage of grief where they realize that, okay, this is a real thing that I'm dealing with and I have to actually acknowledge it and try to figure out what to do. Like, they go into that and then it just breaks them. It literally breaks them because they're finally, I guess, let's back it up. I feel like the next stage is can be grief and acceptance kind of all in one because they kind of realize like this is the real thing. So they kind of accept it in a way, and then that can often lead to grief because they realize like they're accepting this issue that is heartbreaking and very distressing and just devastating. And then they go into this grief, and a lot of the times, like for me, when I first seeing a baby, instant tears, it felt like, that I had to hold back. Going near a baby section in the store. I either wanted to cry or cry. Similar. I just went through that stage where hearing people talk about pregnancy and talk about babies and seeing babies, they were tears. Like a lot of tears. That can also lead to depression. I went through a heavy stage of depression, and I feel like that may be common with quite a few people with infertility. They just go through the stage of depression even before they go through IUIs and IVF because it gets so depressing realizing like this is it. Like this is my life. Infertility. Another stage that I can kind of go through is anger. I know for me, this is something that I'm still kind of working through. It's gotten a lot better, but there is definitely that still stage of anger. Like my anger was toward God. My anger was toward all my friends who told me I'm lucky because I don't have to deal with periods due to my Turner syndrome that caused my infertility. Angry at pregnant women I would just see in the grocery store. If I saw any pregnancy post on social media, be like like I was just I would be like so angry. And I would also be angry at myself too and at my body. I was angry. I was angry at God for letting this happen. I was angry at people around me. And I was also, like I said, angry at myself and my body a lot. I felt like a failure. I felt shame. I felt disgust. I felt embarrassing. I felt humiliated. I felt unworthy. And quite frankly, that played a lot into, for those who don't know, I'm also diagnosed when I was 18 with an eating disorder that I had struggled with before I was 18, but I was officially diagnosed when I was 18. My eating disorder was a coping mechanism, but also a way of punishment for my body. It was kind of both. It was a way to cope with what was going on with infertility, and it was also a way to punish my body because I felt like it was broken. And I feel like there is also a lot of bouncing in between those stages, too. Like 1 minute you could be just in grief and just devastated. Like New Year's Eve, people posted a lot of, New Year's Eve and New Year's Day, people posted a lot of pregnancy announcements, what we're looking forward to 2023. And I would go 1 minute, I would be in tears by looking at it, and the next second I would be angry at the next person I saw post. Like I had a right to be mad at them because they were just announcing their happy news. And then there'd also be in a sense, you could also kind of do a little, I don't want to say pity party, because that's definitely not the right word, but kind of get in that moment where you feel alone. You literally shut out everyone and everything. Everybody who's even trying to help you and comfort you through this time, you just hide from the world, shut out everybody, and you just hide away, and you just act like, and you kind of ignore everybody who's trying to reach out and help you. And I feel like I did that for quite a while, like just kind of pushed everyone aside and was very tiffy and kind of salty and bitter at people. Even like my sister and my husband, who were trying to comfort me. So that can be kind of something that some people go through with infertility. They kind of get in that stage where they just, kind of like Bella from Twilight in New Moon when Edward disappears. She just locks herself in the bedroom and the months drag by. Kind of like that. You just shut yourself away from the world. That is, in a sense, kind of what I feel like some people do. And I feel like that's why I love when people I see on TikTok who are going through infertility say, I need a reset. I'm going to travel with my husband, and we're just going to stop thinking about it for a hot second, stop thinking about IVF and that, and we're just going to give ourselves a couple of months just to reset our brain because we're so distraught right now. We just need to recenter ourselves before we think and go through the next step of this infertility journey, which I think is great because it gives you that sense to reset. Because if you just keep going and going and going and pushing, sometimes you just get so, but then you just get so broken. So having those maybe month or two to heal in between those kind of things and just kind of refocus, recenter, regroup, and kind of just really truly process what happened and what needs to probably happen and decide what needs to happen next with you and your partner and your treatment team is such a good idea. I kind of really feel like I just wanted to kind of touch on like the different stages like I did, just because I feel like it's so important for people to realize that some people with infertility, they truly are going through a roller coaster, up and down. And it's so important to just be there for them and just be supportive, because you never know what's truly going in their mind and their heart. So thank you for watching. Please don't forget to subscribe and hit that notification bell. Be safe.